Greetings adventurers, and welcome to the Loot Goblin Marketplace. I've read a ton of stories on this channel, and always seems like the worst problem players come from a table where they are enabled by the Dungeon Master from the very beginning. Be it a childhood friend or someone that they are dating, there's always a clear favoritism that allows bad behavior to go unpunished. Oftentimes, I'd argue that it gets rewarded as that person always seems to get everything they ask for, plus a few items that were probably reserved for other players originally. I'm not saying to intentionally exclude what you know your friend or spouse likes in a campaign. I just want you to make sure that at some point you go around to learning what the rest of the table would like to do. Session zeros can be a great time to ask what the rest of the table wants to accomplish. By learning this early on, you can find unique ways to spotlight everyone's characters. Today's story was submitted from lootgoblinstories@gmail.com and is called How D&D Broke Up My 18-Year Friendship. I would like to start by saying Dungeons & Dragons is a game, and it's ridiculous that it has come this far. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Thanks for watching the video, farewell for now. Okay, but seriously, let's read it. One of my closest friends wanted to host a D&D session with 8 players. Me being fairly new at the game and knowing some of my friends are playing, I wanted to play so I can hang out. I say fairly new because I knew the basic mechanics, but didn't know what cantrips were. So I played a barbarian, later leveling in fighter. Little did I know I would fall in love with the game. At first it was good. The only issue I had was that half the table weren't paying attention until it was their turn, then take a while to decide what to do. So sometimes our whole 8 to 10 hour session was just clearing 2 to 3 rooms. Introducing the protagonists. They will be referred to as V. They were the Dungeon Master's significant other. Outside of D&D, I would say we got along. We would just have casual conversations and jokes. Not a lot of people liked them, and the Dungeon Master's parents didn't either. I always felt as if V was pushing the DM away from all of his friends, but they have been together so long that we just tolerate it and brushed it off. Who knew V would be the same in D&D? They actively go against the party and got special treatment from the DM. They liked the more roleplay side of D&D, so they would go on these 45-minute to an hour-and-a-half adventures by themselves or with V's friend. What makes it worse, V blatantly fudges their roles. Sometimes they throw themselves into danger, and being the DM's significant other, they would make sure V wouldn't die. This was going on the whole time we played for almost 2 years. For an example, when V would cast Chaos Bolt, pre-2024 edition, they would always roll doubles so it would leap. We would try to roleplay with V, but they were acting like they can't trust us. Or if something happened to them while away, V would not tell us. When we bring this up to the DM to avoid conflicts between the party, it seems like he did nothing. The first incident was when we were exploring a temple for one of the gods. We come across a room full of mind-controlled creatures. It seems like they were moving into the center of the room with the demonic symbol on the ground. After we cleared the room, V decided that she needed to check out the portal in the middle, so she tried to forcefully take one of the 2 NPCs that were guiding us out with her into the portal without discussing what to do. Once inside, V is greeted by the god of hunger. Now, with the party having just been in a tough fight, and the majority of us being sub 10 to 20 HP, and low on resources, we hesitated. Every once in a while, the DM would describe how the demon is slowly pulling V in, to the point where V is in his open jaws and slowly closing on V. So 3 of us took the risk and saved V. It took like 6-7 turns for this to happen. God damn it. If this was anyone else, the DM would have killed them. In past encounters, the DM didn't have a problem killing other players, with spells that if you drop to 0, outright kill you. I really hate when players fudge dice rolls because the way I see it, you're playing a game system where dice variance is one of the biggest factors on how crazy the encounters can get. And if you need to cheat to feel good while playing D&D, I feel like you might be playing the wrong game. I get that there's players that try to min-max their characters to make it so that the dice rolls practically don't matter, but that's honestly a little bit better because still whenever a nat 1 comes around, the player has to adapt to a bad decision and it kind of takes them out of that min-max mindset, even if just for a moment. So you can do a lot there as a Dungeon Master. When a player's outright cheating and saying, "Nuh-uh, I never get anything bad, you can't stop me," it's just so much more irritating. I will say that 8 players is a lot of players if you're not used to it as a Dungeon Master, but I feel like the reason that a lot of the players are checked out probably is partially because for 45 minutes at a time, B will randomly go off and have adventures. Sometimes she's nice enough to bring 1 player, but that's 6 players not doing anything for entire hours of the campaign. I would mentally be checked out so fast as well. Obviously, I do want all 8 players to know exactly what they want to do when their turn comes around, but just every detail detail of this story makes me feel like no player here besides V is going to have a good time. Let's see what happens in these later incidents. The second incident. The whole party arrived in town and started shopping. While we were shopping, V whispers to the DM, telling him that they're going to get all the side quests. Apparently they're like on a mission board or something. After, V comes back to the team talking and hands them out, keeping the one with the bigger reward for themselves. I speak up and tell V in character, since it has a higher reward, I can go with you since it might be dangerous. And out of character, say it's kind of backhanded that you gave us the lesser quests. V starts getting angry and starts raising their voice and mentions, I want to roleplay by myself. I always share the gold anyways. I told V I was totally fine with roleplaying too, and it's disrespectful that you get to pick the quest and give out the rest, knowing the more difficult quests give an item. We know this from a different set of side quests where a team of 5 players did a quest and split 500 gold, while V did a side quest and got a rare magic item that was sold to a different player. By the end of it, V is screaming, so they step away. While V is away, we complete the side quests. Once V returns, the DM starts the other quests. Long story short, what I knew was going to happen happened. Fudge rolls and special treatment and almost 2 hours taken from everyone else. V went down, but then a couple turns later, they say, I forgot I had shield, so the DM lets them get back up. After the session, they take a step back. At this time, V is being passive aggressive, making up random events to keep the DM from playing. Also on the off weekends, they start hosting their own session. Come to find out, V was DMing and invited everyone except me and Al. He'll come in later, which only lasted for 1 session. Since the schedule started getting inconsistent because of this, I started DMing on the side. Even though these sessions are 8 to 10 hours, having 2 dedicated hours to one player is a ridiculous amount of spotlight time. Also, I don't really get the idea of having these side quests on a mission board. If you want to schedule throughout the week separate mini sessions where everyone gets to do like 1 hour of solo play with the DM, yeah, it's time consuming, but at least everyone else doesn't have to sit around and just watch it happen. You're not going to hear any pushback from me. I'd much rather just hear about it after the fact than sit through 2 hours of someone else doing solo roleplay, since only the DM and them know how to do it good apparently. I said it before, but I still believe it. Everything about this campaign is just set up for failure. Why is so much about this campaign just splitting the party, having everyone just sit around and watch other people do stuff, and then whenever someone gets a cool item, B gets first dibs and then basically gets to sell it to the rest of the party? Yeah, they split the gold from the reward, but I don't think they split that gold from selling that item. So even that excuse doesn't really hold up. Let's see what the third and final incident is. The third incident. After some time, B returns to play with us again. The first session back, it went back to the old ways where B wasn't engaged and took forever deciding what to do and continues to fudge rolls. Once we completed the main mission, we got to the elders to report our findings. Once we get to the castle, V dips, so the rest of the party goes to talk to them. We find out one of the 3 elders was working with the bad guy. After interrogating him, we find out he was doing it to protect him and his family. He said he was feeding/enslaving his people to a vampire. We let the other 2 elders decide his fate, making the death a DM decision, and go clear the dock where they're transporting the victims to the vampire. Meeting up with V and filling them in, they dip again. We clear the docks, and while this is going on, V releases the elder. We get out from clearing the dock to meet up with V again, but now the elder is with them. In character, another player, Al, tells them he's not getting on the boat. He's a traitor and he enslaved his people. V responds with, you all do too. Al responds, then V says, whatever, I'll attack him. The DM intervenes and tells the party there is no PvP. I step up and say, he killed his people to protect himself. I can't let him travel with us. V, clearly upset, well, I will find my own way off the island then, separating the party further. The next morning, Al and myself receive a message about how hurt V is, and how we were disrespectful inside and outside D&D, pretty much gaslighting us. We tried to reply, but she removed us as friends in the Discord. So Al and I write up a little something to apologize for her behavior outside of D&D, and mention if she had a problem with it, then she should have spoken up, cause this is how we joke around as friends. But then explain how we felt playing D&D with them, and that we just had 2 D&D play styles, so it's best if we don't play D&D together. After sending it to the DM in Discord, V is replying with a story, and it's just the same thing they mention. So I break it down paragraph by paragraph to explain everything. During this time, Al is getting more messages from V through Discord, one being something on the lines of "you were the last one of his friends," confirming my theory that V has been pushing away all of the DM's lifelong friends. It's been over a year now. I still talk to the DM's parents because I've known them so long that I also call them mom and dad. This is unfortunately one of the sadder resolutions that I've had to a story on the channel. I guess I'm glad that there's no big blow up confrontation in person that turned nasty, but just kind of quietly getting cut off from a lifelong friend because of D&D is really sad to hear. Sometimes I feel like tabletop games can bring out the worst aspects of people, and I'm not saying that you have to worry about the people that play like a Murder Hobo 1 game, you know, maybe they burn down an orphanage for the memes and then they steal from the innkeep, and then the next campaign comes around and they play a happy-go-lucky character. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm more or less talking about the people who need to be in control in all situations at the table, because even though the Dungeon Master is in charge of a lot of things, even he should let agency go to the players every chance he can. If he's not willing to give that up, he's trying to write a book and not really run a campaign. So when someone who's a player feels like everything needs to be about them, the Dungeon Master has to bow to their command, the other players have to bow to their command, even the dice results have to bow to their command, they're actively cheating to make sure it does, that's what you have to watch out for. Because when you have someone like that at the table, it's not really about D&D anymore. It sounds like the reason that you started playing D&D here in the first place was to hang out with your friends. I think you and Al made a good point that, hey, sometimes, you know, people play D&D a certain way and it doesn't really go well together, so maybe we just keep hanging out but we don't play D&D. We're totally open to that. They of course didn't take you up on that offer because they wanted to cut you out of all things, and D&D was just kind of the excuse. But I do like that you guys try to communicate that, because sometimes the answer is as simple as, hey, we're really good friends, just not when we're playing D&D, so let's do something else. I can think of a couple activities in college that I did with my friends that felt more strenuous, so we stopped doing it. Like, for example, we'd go bowling and for some reason that was a shit show, so we just stopped bowling together, but doing other activities totally went well. So if for some reason as a group you're only having screaming contests when you're doing D&D, maybe you go back to playing another game, maybe playing video games online, something else. I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this story, and if there's any activities that your friend group just cannot handle together for some reason, even though everything else goes well. Obviously, it's not the reason this particular story ended poorly, so I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say about that. And to the author here, it sounds like unfortunately you lost a friend, but at least you can still enjoy the hobby with the new group. You never know though, this guy might come around eventually. Just maybe avoid D&D with V. If you liked the video, make sure to like and hype it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Farewell for now. Hey kid, want to try some Gamersupps? You can now get free samples anywhere in the world and try the most delicious 0-calorie energy powder in the game when you use code lootgoblin. Each sample sent out gets me one step closer to my quest to get a flavor that tastes suspiciously like Dr. Pepper. If you end up liking those free samples and want to purchase some Gamersupps, make sure to use the link in the description or use my code to get 10% off your entire order.